So, and I've looked at reports done by all of you, and I just would like to get agreement on the point that the Trump tax cuts did not pay for themselves. In other words, they didn't raise more revenue over time than they gave up. If we could just start with you, Mr. Kogan.
Yes, Senator, you are correct. Federal revenues are lower than they would have been if not for the Trump tax cuts.
The Trump tax cuts did not pay for themselves. I provide documentation in my statement.
I agree they did not pay for themselves and they did not trickle down to employee earnings.
I prefer to think of the tax cuts as a one-time cost. I don't think they're an ongoing contributor to the deficit.
Well, I'm looking at something, Mr. Michel, that when you put together when you were at the Heritage Foundation, and you've got 12 myths, and one of the myths, and I'm quoting, is that the tax cut pays for itself, the Trump tax cut. Are you changing your mind today about that conclusion?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So just to be clear, the Trump tax cut did not pay for itself, correct?
Not within the 10-year budget window, no.
No, well, let's look at the next budget window. I'm looking at your report here, too. It doesn't pay for itself in the next 20, in next 10, does it?
The cost was largely a one-time cost. The economy was projected to grow over
I'm
time.
just looking at your own report here, right? It didn't pay for itself in the second.
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Hodge, did the Trump tax cuts pay for themselves?
The Tax Foundation modeled every iteration of what became the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act from the beginning to the end, and at no time did our model ever predict that it would pay for itself. And our model is perhaps the most sophisticated model in Washington, and it does not estimate that virtually any tax cut will pay for itself. And that's a kind of a myth that's been created.